Yep, very good. It's fascinating. It's the same things that really hold most people back from anything. I think it'd be very relatable to anyone listening to that. If maybe they're not thinking about starting a podcast, maybe the exact situation of maybe whether it's the next promotion or going for a grad job or navigating the later stages of university, and how many fear evoking situations there are, or I'm not good enough kind of that, which is just a natural part of progression. Like when you're progressing on something, when you're taking a step up, because it's a growth and you're not
Mm.
used to it, there is always an adjustment. So there's always normally doubt. I think it's very powerful, even just listening to your journey around the podcast of that. Is there a change you've seen? I mean, it might be interesting for anyone listening to know, yeah, a bit more about James outside of graduate theory. Like you're working in a typical graduate role too, which I'm very aware of. And so, how is the 10 episode, the 9 episodes so far? Has it impacted the way you're thinking about things, your confidence? Are there any like noticeable changes? Maybe not materially because it
Mm.
hasn't been that long. Like you've jumped industries or whatever, but have you noticed it in the way you're thinking about work, career, and any of these kind of typical things we all navigate?
Yeah.
Has it changed at all with the advice and lessons from the guests so far?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that I've learned, and even comes back to what you were saying about this kind of idea of self-doubt and stuff. It's been something that's been a common thread through a lot of the guests that I've had on, is something that they've mentioned they were doing something and they weren't sure if they should do it, or they were having those things where they were doubting themselves, or imposter syndrome, or all those kinds of words for really the same thing, where you don't think that you can do something. And it's been surprising that I know I've had those experiences, and really it's been one of the things I've asked them is like, okay, I've had these things, like, do you have those? And like, if so, how did you deal with that? And it's been common across a lot of the guests where they've all said, I had that experience in this situation or whatever it was. And I think that's been insightful, because it shows me at least that having those things where perhaps an opportunity comes up and you don't feel confident to do it, or you're thinking of doing something but you don't feel confident to do it. Like, all those things are very normal, and it's really and Andrew, who's the guest I most recently interviewed, he was talking about how that gets easier over time as you recognize that you're in that mode of doubting yourself and then pushing through that. And I think that's something that, having now started the podcast and almost done that to some degree with starting it, and then combine that with hearing all the people and the guests, all my guests talk about that as well. I think that's been something that really I've taken away, is that self doubt is something that's natural and something that you can push past. And having those kind of moments where you have pushed past it successfully, those can build up and really give you some momentum, and allow you to continue to push yourself.
So well said. Andrew's point there is incredible. I feel the same thing. I guess he and I are probably the same age.
Mm.
So I think at that stage, you have gone through a couple of different, I always say like 3 times. Once you go through any big challenge or anything you want to try that's new, and you've got 3 different examples, you've gone through it enough times, look back, oh, I always doubt myself. And always, you've established the pattern. But it's hard. And I think even people your age or slightly younger, like typical listener, it's easy to hear that, I guess, in theory.
Mm.
But until you've actually gone through and done it, you haven't really crossed that hurdle yet, and it's very natural. And I think you must get so much value out of even the ritual of regularly talking to people who are just outside of your situation, even though they are more advanced, they've maybe quote unquote achieved more. I'm sure that you must just really thrive off getting that, um, the chance to, yeah, take a beat, get out of your day to day, talk to them, and then get a reminder from their experience. I'm sure it's very powerful for your life. And I'll save you the hard question because I know episode 1 was your favorite with Joe Weeby, the incredible author and thinker. But